Hey guys, welcome back to Dairy Motorsports YouTube channel. We're back in the shop today working on the C5 Corvette, and today we're working on the other end of things. We are getting the splitter mocked up. So what we have is a 4x8 sheet of insulation, and I have it already notched out for the wheels and suspension on either side. And then what we do with it is I'm going to make the template that I want. So I've got a 90-degree piece that I typically use, so I can mark out where I want to put it on, and then we will draw the line. So let me kind of show you that. Right, so here's the piece that I use when I just have a simple, and we just run it around. What I do is I just add a tip of marker in place and at whichever distance I need, and that just does it all the way around for us. So we're gonna get that set up and done, and yeah, show you. All right guys, so what you use can be something is this simple. So what we did was we measured from here to our 5-inch mark right there, and then we went ahead and just taped the piece in place. And that is quite as simple as just bringing it over. You'll follow the edge of the bumper line and mark it all the way around. Now I'm gonna do it while not holding the phone, so let me do that and I'll be right back. Alright, so there is our line following the edge of the bumper all the way around. Now let's talk about why I chose 5 inches. Well, that is the limit that I can have as viewed from above with how much splitter I can have. So 5 inches from above. So in a couple of these places here, where you see how the bumper curves down a little bit, we're actually on like 4.5 up here in the front. So we will adjust that a little bit depending on how I feel. But there you go. Easy way to mark your stuff. And now what we will do is just hit a line from here all the way over to the other side underneath. Scribe that so we know where our bumper line is. And then I will come in here and edge out where I want the wheel well to fall. And then the first thing I did when we were marking this up was right on center line of the axle. So the back portion of the splitter will be right at the center line of the axle. So next step is to draw and mark out a few other things. And then we'll go ahead and cut out the piece of foam that we have. And that is one, either a template, or two, we use it as a material to help us build the carbon fiber pieces. There you go. Another question I get asked all the time is, what do you cut your foam with? And I cut it with a simple little jigsaw. So we will go ahead and start and just go all the way around. And I have the table set up underneath here, that you can see, so that we're not hitting any of these lines. So we should just be able to cut it out in one clean swipe and leave the foam piece there, because it's not able to move around right now because the weight of the car is set on it just a little bit, so that helps us hold it in place. All right, and there is our rough cut of the splitter. See if I can get a big overhead shot for you, or close enough. Yeah, it's about as good as it'll get. Yeah, so now that we got our rough cut done, we'll go ahead and I'm going to round the bottom edge. That way it allows the air to help smooth the flow underneath the front splitter. But the first thing I'm going to do is take it and we will measure out where we want the rest of our lines to go. And we'll cut off the rest of our piece here, so we got our base template piece. I'm going to put the car up and do that. Guys, so there we go. And that part is measured out, marked out what it is. Took a measurement off the subframe, and I went ahead and marked it on there. So the next thing we do, cut out the rest of this part and the rest of that part. Then we got our base template piece. All right guys, so we're back. It is time that we profile the edge of the splitter. And so, before I put the carbon on it, we will go ahead and show you kind of what that is. So on the other edge over here, you can see full squared offness. On this edge here, you can see, hopefully, well, let me see if I can get it to adjust. There you go. How we round it off. We're not quite there yet, but getting really close to that right profiled edge. That way the air just smoothly attaches and flows underneath the splitter really well, whereas here it would just hit it and then just kind of flow terribly before it reattaches. So we go ahead and just give it a nice... Alright guys, so the next part of the splitter is done up. I've gone and we've made a, just a level, almost a wing-ish shape on the edge of each of the splitters, and then under each side of the splitter. And then what I have done is marked out plates where we're going to have the mounts on each of the areas. And so what I'm going to do next is take and recess these into the foam, and then we will go ahead and just bond them to the foam. And that way, when these are at the bottom, we will have plates where we can mount all of our mounts and such, so it's nice and rigid when we go ahead and actually mount it to the car. So yeah, I'm gonna get these inset, and we're just about ready to do carbon. Guys, center two are done. I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the height, and we'll do the other four. Be right back. All right guys, now that I'm covered in foam from routering those out, the other ones are done, and I'm gonna go ahead and epoxy these in there. And I'm just gonna insert this in here real quick. I'm thinking about it because I know people are gonna ask me what to use. Typically for, ones that we're just insetting like this, I just use JB Weld 5-minute. Really, any of them will work. I had this epoxy weld, or a plastic weld one sitting around, so we're gonna mix it up, set them in there with that, be done. All right guys, so we're on the next step. I have the surface that we're going to use for the layup and epoxy done. I've got a bunch of carbon fiber cut up. Yes, that one is green. I'll show you here in a second again. But yeah, we're getting ready to mix some stuff up, and I'll show you kind of the carbon color, because this car, believe it or not, as glorious as it's going to look, it will never ever look as good as the Mustang. So we needed a couple of things to kind of set it apart. So this would be the single top color layer for the carbon fiber on the splitter of the Corvette. So yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. We'll see. Maybe it's gonna be really tacky, who knows, but when it's done, right? Let's get started. So step one with our wet layup process is we've put a coat of epoxy down. Now I've put this one down pretty thick, and it is surrounded everywhere we're gonna have our first layer down. And that's so what we can do, as you've seen in previous videos, is the top surface, which will be the bottom one, the first one we put on, will hopefully have that nice super glossy look to it without any bubbles or anything like that as we layer it down into the epoxy. So yeah, we're gonna keep going. All right, top layers are done. We have the foam center with all the stuff laid out in it on, and time to get the next couple of layers put on. It's gonna be the hard part. We'll show you the wrap up at the end. All right guys, well, it's all on, done, and we are to the vacuum bagging stage. Now I used a different material this time. I probably should have tested it out on a smaller one because it's very, very stretchy, and I like that, but it has left some pocket bubbles in it that are a little bit harder to get out because it's stretchy. So when I pull it, it just kind of stretches. But we'll deal with it. If we got to sand the bottom when we're done up, we do. But yeah, now we wait for it to cure. That's a wrap on this one. We'll see you guys in the next one, where we hopefully start putting together the splitter mounting equipment and front air dam on it. So yeah, we'll see you then.